Uber certainly has started a trend. They disrupted the taxi industry. Now we have the Uber of politics. A new Australian political party called Flux is using technology to disrupt the way our government works. Sounds interesting. Let's find out more. Max, tell me, how is Flux going to disrupt the party-based political system?
So we're going to disrupt the system by enabling every Australian to have a real say. We're going to focus on empowering community members, empowering the previous organisations that already exist, and focusing on delivering better legislation, better policy than any other party can.
And how does that work?
That works by mass distributing an app to as many people as possible. This allows them to have a say on the issues they're really passionate about, or to delegate to a community, to an organisation that they feel can accurately represent their views.
Can you give me an example?
So, if we, as a very, very simple example, say there are two issues before Parliament this week. One of them is to change the flag, and one of them is to change the national animal. You care particularly about the animal, and your friend cares about the flag. Instead of spreading yourself thinly and having one vote each, we allow you, the two of you, to swap votes so that you can have a say on the issue you're passionate about, and your friend has a say on the issue they're passionate about. This is how we can get better policy through, better results, by leveraging the community.
It sounds like you have to be very engaged politically. Do you think Australians are too lazy to be this involved?
Not at all. We're aiming to make the barrier to entry as low as possible. Our goal is that a 30-second conversation at the pub, you can download the app, you can get registered, and you can delegate to a community organisation that you feel really represents your views.
And vote drunk.
And vote.
Okay, so how do you intend to sell this? Because it's a pretty cerebral concept. How do you expect to sell this to the general population?
So for this election, we're focusing on for this election, we have a very low barrier to entry. We need less than 1 in 20 Australians to vote for us to have a real shot at 6 Senate seats. We're focusing on trying to help these people, how do we intend to sell it?
Mm-hmm.
So,
what about what we were saying before about instead of having one vote and then you don't have a chance to speak again for 3 years? Something like that. Or we just had a change of Prime Minister, no change of policy.
Yep. Can we repeat the question?
Yep. How do you intend to sell Flux to the greater population?
We don't think it's going to be very difficult to sell. The current system isn't much in terms of competition. We've just had a change of leader and we didn't see any change of policy. And so we know that the current system doesn't work. We're giving Australians a real option, a real potential for change, and we think that it's going to be pretty easy to convince them that we're the best possibility candidates.
We're the best.
We're the top shit.
Is this kind of a one-off stunt, considering that things are going to be changing in the Senate?
No. By getting this beachhead, we hope to be able to really prove the viability of this system and to grow this so that it can grow as large as possible, as fast as possible, and start delivering much better policy for Australians.
So, how are you going to stop lobbyists or big corporations jumping on board and influencing how the votes are cast?
So we have 4 ways of doing this. Flux is naturally designed to suppress special interests. If people try and engage unfairly, they're going to come up against all kinds of roadblocks. So the first is that votes are distributed to everyone, and so it's difficult to acquire them as a monopoly, especially when there are other interests at play. The second is that trying to do this also becomes very expensive. Because of our trading system that relies on demand and supply, if an extra party comes in, it pushes the cost of acquiring those votes up and depleting the resources of the lobbyists. The third is that Flux focuses more on correcting mistakes than getting policy right first time. So even in the case that a lobbyist is able to get policy through, it can be undone very quickly. And the fourth is if they actually try and buy votes with physical money, we can exclude them from the system because that's not how we play.
How can you trust that the senators representing Flux are actually going to do what the voters want?
So
they're human.
Like other parties, this is always a question. There are the existing methods, which are philosophical alignment and social pressure. We're being very selective in our candidates to make sure that they're driven by promoting Flux above all else, that they're not more interested in their own opinions, and they have a firm conviction that Flux can produce better results than any one person.
How are you funding this party?
At the current stage, we're funding it out of our own pockets.
How How long can that continue?
We've got enough money to take us to the election, but we are looking for larger donations to try and amplify our effect, particularly right before the election.
Is it true that Flux is working with controversial political strategist Glenn Drury?
That is correct, but we're also working with everyone. Ultimately, we're about democracy, which means we want to put ourselves in the best position to win as many Senate seats as possible and deliver as much as possible to Australian voters.
But come on, he's known as the preference whisperer. Wouldn't it be smarter to stay clean and not have his grubby fingerprints over your party?
Unfortunately, being in the position he's in, if we tried to exclude him, that would probably put us at a great disadvantage. Our interest is in winning Senate seats, not in being ideological at this early stage.
Do you think that other politicians are going to be sniggering behind your back because really you were just a Facebook page 2 days ago?
We don't expect politicians to get on board very quickly. They've come from a long history of doing things one way, and they're not going to see the potential for innovation straight away. We have firm convictions, though, that Australians aren't happy with the way things are going. They're going to vote for us, and once we have 6 senators, politicians are going to have to take us seriously at their own peril.
So just like Uber, all of a sudden there's an Uber of couriers, an Uber of cleaners, an Uber of that. Do you think that this new internet-based way of creating a political party could take off very quickly and saturate the market?
Absolutely, that's our hope. If we can saturate the market early, that means all the better for Australia, the better policy, the more empowerment that we can provide, and ultimately the best future.
You say you want to disrupt the political system. Are you worried you could break it?
Not at all. Flux is designed to fail if it doesn't work. Because of the way that we empower other minor parties as well, there are some good safety nets early on to prevent this going catastrophic. If this doesn't work, then it's very easy just not to vote us in the next time, and we'll go back to the old way of doing things. Ultimately, though, the more people we can get involved, the harder it becomes to push through bad policy, because there are more ideas, there's more criticism, there's more conjecture, and it means that we're going to have better policy in the long run.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.